你好
And welcome to my Wulong build guide. The build in this video utilizes an NG plus grace, the grace of
道德天尊
the pure one. This build primarily focuses on deflections and spirit attacks. This build uses 3 virtues, wood, earth and water, which give you various boosts to your deflections as well as increased spell duration. The extra spirit gain from deflecting lets you either cast spells or use spirit attacks pretty much non-stop. The 6-piece bonus of this grace boosts your damage by up to 15%. This also includes your weapon buff and your spells. You also gain over 11% increased damage from your divine beast when at full health. This is easy to maintain because you regen constantly and have high damage reduction. On top of this, you can also block any attack without taking any damage, granting you have enough spirit to do so. This means that if you do not struggle with deflecting and blocking, you will have over 25% increased damage at all times, before even taking into account the damage boosting buffs, defense decreasing debuffs, and other damage boosting special effect this build uses. Additionally, you get a defense buff, inflict a damage debuff on your enemy, and recover around 30 HP every time you deflect a critical blow. Bosses like to throw these often enough for you to constantly have these buffs and debuffs active. Not to mention that every time you deflect a regular attack, you gain 10 HP as well as inflict stone accumulation because you will be using the spell Quake Bound. This build is a perfect mix of dealing great damage while being almost unkillable. You never have to waste time using flasks unless you make a big mistake, and even then it is really easy to get back on the offensive again. Now that I've given a general view of the build, I will go more in depth about required equipment, set bonuses, special effects, virtues, spells, and divine beasts. After this I will end the video with a couple boss kills as a showcase of the build's capabilities. When it comes to equipment, you want 5 pieces of the Grace of Daode Tianzun the Pure One, you want 1 equipment piece with set bonus requirement mitigation, and then 3 pieces of Aspiration of Restoring the Han Empire, out of which 1 piece has to be the accessory and another piece has to be the weapon of this set. Then finally your second accessory can be whatever you want. The main weapon of this build will be the dual swords of this set. That is because they scale really well with the stats that this build uses, and on top of that the martial art Endless Flowering is really good on this build thanks to some special effects on the weapon, which I'll get into more later. Now to the set bonuses themselves. The main set bonus will of course be the Grace of Daode Tianzun the Pure One, and this set bonus gives you various benefits to your deflections. Reduced deflect spirit consumption, haste upon deflection, and more spirit gain from deflecting. Also, if you like doing deflect counterattacks and utilize both weapons, you get a damage amplification on the enemy every time you deflect a counterattack. Now the main set bonus of this build is the principle of Lingbao. How this works is that anytime you deflect any attack, you gain a stack, and you can gain up to 5 stacks at a time. And what these do is increase your damage. I did some testing and it seems to be around 3% damage per stack, so at 5 stacks you have 15% increased damage. But I also tested that this affects all types of damage, including spell damage and even the damage that your weapon buff adds to a weapon. Also, anytime that you deflect the attack, it resets the timer on the stacks, and they also last really long, which means that you will have all of the stacks active pretty much all throughout a fight. For the other set bonus, it's just the 4-piece bonus of Aspiration of Restoring the Han Empire, which is for HP recovery upon deflection, because you will be deflecting a lot, so it really adds up, and then decrease spirit damage received when at full HP. For special effects on your weapons, you want the Stone Enchant, HP recovery upon deflecting a critical blow, and spirit vulnerability on the enemy upon a successful martial arts hit. And last and most importantly, you want negate attribute damage upon block. Now what this special effect does is, it lets you fully block elemental type damage. Normally you could only partially block elemental type damage, but this special effect makes it so that no damage goes through your blocks. This is really nice because normally elemental damage would chip you even when blocking, thus preventing you from staying at full HP most of the fight. But with this special effect, it's really easy to stay at full HP at all times, because when you're uncertain of a combo or don't know how to deflect it, you can still safely block it without taking any damage. On my ranged weapon, I just have Restore HP, Enemy Status Effect Accumulation and Decreased Damage Received. On your armor, the main things you want to focus on is increased damage dealt, decreased damage received, and increased HP restoration. And for the extra slots you might have, you just want to put Heaviness Accumulation and Ice Attack Power. You also want to put Damage Amplification on enemy upon Wizard Spell hit on your helmet, and on your gloves you want to put Power Drop on enemy upon deflecting a critical blow. On your accessories, the main thing you want is HP restoration from melee attack damage and HP recovery upon deflection. This is just in case you happen to get hit and you need to top off your health, so you have a really easy time to recover health without having to waste a flask. The virtues I've gone with are 60 water, 44 earth and 48 wood. Water is the highest attribute on this build. That is because our weapon has the best scaling in water and our only offensive spell is from the water virtue, so we wanted to hit a bit harder. It also gives you decreased spirit consumption when deflecting, which is a nice added bonus. Earth is there for increased equipment load. I've gone with 44 specifically to stay below 30% equip load, and it also gives you increased spirit gain upon deflection, which is really nice. Lastly, wood is there for increased spell duration and a little bit of extra HP, and it's the secondary scaling stat for our melee weapon as well. The spells this build uses are Ominous Chill, Lightning Weapon, Quake Bound and Absorb Vitality. Ominous Chill is the only offensive spell of this build, and it's there just as a hard-hitting spell that absolutely shreds bigger enemies. Lightning Weapon is your weapon buff, and it is there because it complements this build really well, and the lightning debuff is really good for this build, because if you have to play more defensively but still have the lightning debuff active on an enemy, they will continuously lose spirit even without you doing anything. Quakebound is there to make your deflections even more powerful, since you'll be using them a lot. What it does is, it makes the stone effect accumulate to enemies when you deflect their attacks. And this is really nice, and once you're closely to proccing the stone debuff on the enemies, you can just use your melee weapon to full up the meter completely and proc the debuff on them. Absorb Vitality is just there to help you regen health in case you do get hit. The Divine Beast that this build uses is
应龙
It gives you damage reduction upon deflecting a critical blow, which is really nice in combination with the power drop upon deflecting a critical blow special effect that we have on the gloves. This means that you will take very little damage most of the time during longer boss fights, because you will be deflecting critical attacks often enough to constantly have these debuffs active. Then you get increased spirit gain from deflecting, which is really nice as well. And then most importantly, increased damage dealt while at full HP, up to 11.2% at 10 or higher morale. It may sound really hard to stay at full HP at all times, but that's why I made this build so tanky and have so good HP recovery, that even if you don't play perfectly and get hit every now and then, you will still get back to full HP really quickly. And once you get a hang of using this build properly, you will notice that it is no issue staying at full HP almost at all times. So, now that we've gone through this build, set bonuses, equipment, spells, virtues, etc. in depth, I'm gonna end this video with the usual showcase skills, but in this video I've actually decided to do the first skill with commentary, to kind of explain my actions. Now I haven't done this before, so it will be what it is, and hopefully I will learn from this. But without further ado, let's get to the showcase clip. Now I like to start it off with casting Quakebound immediately to start building that stone debuff. I can actually strafe most of his attacks. I'm not a professional at this, but I do know you can. So I've been doing some testing with some bosses, and as you can see we are building stone already, but even by playing this passively. And there we go, we got the debuff. Let's put spirit vulnerability on him to do even better spirit damage. Alright. That's not good. So now we get to showcase the Regen. Let's distance ourselves a little bit. Alright. So now we have the Regen spell active. And you'll see how fast this is to get health, especially with Fatal Strikes. We were at like 1/4 health, and now we're just regain like half HP in that time alone. And got that. I was not confident. Like, that's a good thing with this build. If you're not confident in getting the deflection, you can always just block and still stay at full HP, granting you were at full HP. Now I wasn't, but at least I didn't take damage. Alright, let's put the Regen on one last time. Actually, let's put Quakebound on. As you can see, you gain a lot of spirit if you manage to deflect well, thanks to the increased spirit gain on deflections. Now, dodge that. I parried a bit too early, so panic dodges work always. I've noticed that my spirit attacks do tend to miss a lot against this boss. Like, they go in between his legs, I guess. Let's put... oh, actually, wouldn't have needed Absorb Vitality there, but it's a good habit to have to cast it on as you... right as you deflect... Fatal Strike. Let's put the water debuff on him as well. Well, this spell does really good damage, and every time you have like distance on the boss, you can actually just throw that spell or here for some extra damage and a crit. I like that did a lot of damage, considering that this is the final boss. Well, not the final boss of the game, but of NG plus technically. And there we completely missed the spirit attacks. Now, it would be nice if I got to showcase like actually good DPS by hitting my spirit attacks, but it is what it is, I guess. Let's put the Quakebound on to proc heaviness on him. There we go. I don't think this crit will do it. Let's put spirit vulnerability, and there we go. Water. Do a martial art. And I actually want to end this, like, I could finish him now. I actually want him to kill me. No, I was gonna have him kill me to showcase my Divine Beast, but unfortunately, I just realized I don't have it. I'm so used to having increased Divine Beast gauge gain that this time I don't have it. So let's just finish him off then. Regular way. Alright, and that's it. So as you can see, I started at full HP, ended at full HP, and didn't have to use a single heal. And I made quite a few mistakes during this kill. So as you can see, it truly is a good combination of tankiness, health regen, and damage. Now, I really hope you enjoyed this clip. Especially with the mishap of not being able to show the Divine Beast, but I will show it in one of the non-commentary boss showcase clips if you're interested to keep on watching those. Now, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you, and bye.
If you like the video, don't forget to smash that like button.